Hello everybody, welcome back to another behind the scenes video. It's been a while since we've done one of these because I'm just quite lazy and I've recorded a whole bunch of these but just haven't uploaded them, so I thought it was about time we started to get going on this, which is why the one we're looking at now is actually quite old because I'm doing them in chronological order. So this is from 2020, December of 2020, when we were preparing for Christmas or the winter holidays, either which way around you want to look at it. This is a pretty classic festive hat. It's, a red sort of pointy thing with bauble on the end and a sort of felted rim. And yeah, that's pretty traditional. So we're just adding some shading here. Kind of a cell shading style, I would say, is what we tend to go for, which is just using blocks of color rather than gradients, because it's like kind of simplistic, I guess. Gives you, it's very clean, quite minimalistic, but works quite well. And it conveys the 3D-ness of the object, suitably. We've then worked out, of course, that giraffes can't wear hats because they've got these horns. So we're just trying to work out how to make shape masks work. I mean, I kind of knew how shape masks work, or at least I knew that they could work. I just wasn't entirely confident in how to make them work. So that's what we just worked out here. And now that we've got the shapes, we can basically trace around the horns to make sure that there's no clipping, and it looks like the horns are in front of the hat and poking through a hole. Now, we could have used the actual shape from the giraffe horns itself rather than trace around it, but because we've downloaded or purchased the giraffes as an asset pack, the outlines are pretty bitty. There's like lots and lots of anchor points. They're quite hard to work with if you ever want to make any adjustments. So it's just easier normally to trace around them or redraw stuff as and when. So obviously, as you can see, we're doing various tweaks here. I say we. Whenever we do these, it normally takes about an hour. And Charlotte and myself are on a call in Discord. I'm sharing my screen. She's always giving feedback. I'm always asking questions. We're working out a balance between us as to what we fancy. I mean, I know you shouldn't design by committee, but it actually works quite well. We've got a good working relationship when it comes to making these things, and she's very clear, I would say, about what she wants. I mean, sometimes you have to see something to know, but there's always ideas on the table. So this is working quite well. We've worked out that we need a bit more shadow because the horns are in front of... They're not really called horns. What are they called again? The ossicones? Something like that? I think it's ossicones. Charlotte can correct me, but yeah, the giraffe horn things. They're obviously poking out in front, and you can see that the light should be kind of up in the top left-ish. So it's casting a bit of a shadow on things. And we've worked out that we made that shadow a bit too big, because obviously the hat is also coming up quite close behind the horns. And then there's a bit of shadow missing here on the I don't know what you'd call that thing, the fluffy bit at the end. Because obviously that's kind of spherical. So that's that added in. So I think we're pretty happy with the hat here, or just getting pretty happy. I don't know if you noticed, we also added the glasses and messed around with the colour of those, but settled on black. And now we want to make it a bit more festive, so there's at least a plant in the UK called holly, which is very synonymous with winter celebrations. You see them on wreaths and things. So this is kind of a cartoonized version. They're actually quite a lot spikier than this, but this will suffice as an illustration. So a couple of holly leaves, add some shadow, get the vein in there down the middle just to sort of indicate that it is kind of leafy. Add the outline, of course, to keep it in current style. And then, yeah, quite often with spiky things in Illustrator, you have to sort of tweak the spikes because they end up a bit aggressive by default, depending on the stroke settings. Yeah, get a couple of leaves, and holly bushes have these berries, and you quite often see them all together on displays and things. So a bit more highlighting and low lighting to imply the spherical nature of those guys. A lot like the cherries. And then that's pretty much it, done. Once you work out how trendy a giraffe is going to be, of course. Now, there was a bit more to this that I didn't record, unfortunately. I think we ended up making the leaves a bit darker, just to make them basically more accurate, I suppose, and a bit bolder. And then we tweaked the hat a fair bit, so that bit at the end, as you can see here, we turned into just a plain sphere, because it was kind of neater and less distracting. And then with these Christmas hats, like the cheap versions tend to just be like plain felt on the rim, and we just decided, actually, you can go a bit more upmarket, This is a classy giraffe, obviously, look at it. So we've gone for something a bit fluffier with these sort of cloud puffs, implying something a bit more fluffy. And I quite like it. I think it's come out well. That's that one. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much. Bye.